KQ2's Sam Rowe has been exploring high and low to uncover St. Joseph's rich history. This week, Sam will be taking a look at Fort Smith.
Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what will hopefully be the first in a new series on KQ2, exploring high and low in St. Joe with Sam Rowe. In this series, we'll be exploring St. Joseph's rich history. In honor of that title, we've come to the top of Prospect Hill, just off of Prospect Avenue in St. Joseph. This is Fort Smith. It was built back in September of 1861 to protect St. Joseph during the Civil War. And while I wasn't able to talk to anyone who built the fort back then, I did chat with the team who unearthed it back in 2003.
I did this presentation, and that kind of sparked something in Bob Ford.
That Sunday, Bob says, "Hey, I think I got something." And I said, "Well, let's skip church and go on up and look at it." And I went up here and said, "Boy, you got readouts. You got a fort."
This hill, as well as the entire city of St. Joseph, were extremely important to the Union Army during the beginning days of the Civil War.
At the start of the war, St. Joseph was very important. It was a commercial center. It was a communications center.
The fort never saw much action proper, but there was fighting out in the streets of St. Joseph.
What a divided city we had, but from this viewpoint, you controlled the city, you controlled the river, and you controlled the trails that came into the city.
There were fights in the streets. Union sympathizers, Southern sympathizers, Union soldiers with against Southern sympathizers. So there was that kind of fighting.
I think this right here has to be my favorite detail of the fort. In December of 1861, 2 of those cannons were fired over the city for target practice. Later, the mayor asked them to let them know next time they were going to test cannons.
And there's a description of that. The first one, the cannonball went about halfway to the target, hit a street, hit a fence post, and ended up under the Hannibal and St. Joseph Railroad Depot. The second one tore through a cupola of a livery stable on 4th Street, bounced outside, hit a fence post, went through a bowling alley, and then ended up under an outhouse.
And while Houts has been able to invest heavily in the fort over the years, there's one thing he wishes he could do.
Well, that was the greatest experience of my life. I to buy those cannons. Let's fire cannon. If we could.
I'm glad it's here. It's a great view. I come up here on the 4th of July and watch the city explode.
You know, the old saying goes, he or she who forgets their past is bound to repeat it.
It's said a lot, and in various ways, those who do not remember their history are doomed to repeat it. And there's a lot of examples throughout history for that.
And at the end of the day, the best part of Fort Smith is the view of the entire city of St. Joseph. Reporting high and low in St. Joe, Sam Rowe, KQ2 News.
All right, interesting tidbit about St. Joseph there. Fort Smith can be found just off the corner of Prospect Avenue and Mitchell Street in St. Joseph. You can find the full version of this story on our website and YouTube channel, KQ2.